In yoga, we talk a lot about carefully balancing poses for a combination of strengthening and stretching. And this is true for the forearms too. Just like the other parts of the body, some parts of the forearms tend to be tighter and maybe overworked than another part of them. This seems likely due to things like computer keyboards and other repetitive tasks. Sometimes our tissues have a hard time repeating the same motions over and over, whether it's playing tennis, building houses, or typing on a computer. Sometimes things get inflamed and can become painful. This can be caused by issues like repetitive strain injuries or tendinitis. Tendinitis is pretty much what it sounds like, an inflamed tendon. In the upper extremities, there are, of course, lots of areas this could happen, but one common one is the thumb tendon. Symptoms tend to include swelling and pain. If someone or you are experiencing pain or swelling, I wouldn't do anything to make that issue worse. Remember, the body needs time to heal, and sometimes that takes longer than we'd prefer. To try to prevent some of these issues, we can help our bodies maintain homeostasis by being cognizant of how much we stretch and strengthen our tissues. When we are in our yoga practice, we can do simple additions to poses such as rotating the palms and the hands up and down in Warrior Two. We're activating those forearm muscles when we do this. When we're in Sukhasana, we can intentionally make gentle fists and then lengthen all through our fingers to open the palms as we open up the fist. If you wanted, you could even use the little stress ball and make a fist and do this a few times to really activate those forearm muscles. But I would be careful and probably not do that if I was dealing with some acute inflammation or pain. When we're in tabletop, we can press the mounds of our fingers into the mat and change the distribution of our weight to lengthen different sections of our palm and forearms. I could go on and on, but I also want to point out how if you or one of your students is struggling with discomfort or lack of motion, there are always modifications or alternatives you can work into your classes. For example, someone might forego tabletop pose altogether in the more traditional sense, being on their hands and knees, and choose to lie on their back, supine. So in this case, you put your hands and your knees in the air as the floor. This way, their hands, wrists, and knees are not taking the brunt of the pressure in this pose. It's a very nice alternative for people that can get down on the floor comfortably, that don't have a lot of sensitivity, maybe in their lower back or their spine, but have a lot of sensitivity in their hands, wrists, elbows, sometimes the shoulders or the knees. This one is when you may want to be careful with the lower back. You could always put a couple of blankets down to increase some cushioning there, depending on the type of mat that you have. But I have found that one to be really helpful. Other options, or maybe downward facing dog, you could use a chair because the hands are going to kind of go around that more so than pressing. The wall is also always a good and generally available alternative.